Had a good practice today, working on Marshall. Everything's really about how we try to send our seniors out on Saturday. Thought our guys really embraced the game plan today. Of course, we got to make sure that our preparation throughout the week continues. Got to get into the red area and third downs tomorrow. Clean things up on Thursday and do the totality of everything. And Friday be a big mental prep day. Big thing about senior day. It's a very emotional time for seniors. It's a time for them to reflect over several colleges that some of them have been through, and some of them being their last snaps that they could possibly take. So I do take that into consideration, and it's really up to our coaches and the guys that won't be out on the field when that senior celebration is going on, how they really lock in and focus and try to take the bull by the horn and start the game off the right way. Questions?
What did you like from what you saw from TJ kind of coming back into action after not playing for a couple of weeks there, and what do you want to keep building on if he might have a greater role in the rest of the season?
Yeah, you got to practice like you're the starter, and I thought TJ did that last week, and we have several other quarterbacks that have to do that this week, so you just never know when your number's going to get called, and that's at any position, so it's always a next man up mentality. I thought he did some really good things, throwing the football, and could have had a little bit better ball placement on a couple of throws, but we got to come down with those catches in those two critical situations where we had a chance to convert fourth downs and possibly score and be down by a touchdown and see what happens with a onside kick. And actually the first one, if we converted, we wouldn't necessarily have to kick an onside kick. We could have just kicked it deep because we still had 3 timeouts. So just got to execute better in that situation.
The first touchdown run was on one Coastal got. Didn't seem from my eyes that anyone had any big thing go wrong. It was just a couple guys maybe a little out of position, and just that's the difference between the 10-yard gain and the 85 yards, I guess.
No, it was a big thing that went on. Jabril Nelson is supposed to squeeze. He was doing someone else's job, and he didn't do his job. So if he squeezes, quarterback probably hands the ball off to the receiver on that play.
Lack of clarification then, I guess.
But, took a bad angle at safety. You can't do that. DIC got to take a better angle and give us a chance to line up again on defense. So that really was a huge momentum swing and added to a lot of their rush yards for the game.
Another offensive guy playing more Jordon. Just like what you've seen from him, kind of giving him, I guess he got 20 carries in the last game, played a lot against South Alabama as well, started to take more of those reps at running back.
Yeah, he's been doing a good job. Still a credit to the offensive line as well and the receivers blocking on the perimeter. But he's been doing a good job the last couple of weeks of earning those yards and yards after contact and making guys miss. And Marshall has a stingier defense, in my opinion, than Coastal. I think they do a really good job of stopping the run, changing up their looks, bringing a lot of pressure. So we're going to have to make plays in the passing game and still not abandon the run.
When you talk about self-scouting this week, since Marshall has been more explosive on their defense, they got about 22 sacks, 60 tackles for a loss. How have you saw on film ways that you wanted to attack them and the self-scout of your own team versus them too?
Yeah, that's why we're game planning. They do a good job of creating negative plays by their defense. They're very multiple. They bring a lot of pressure. They do a lot of things predicated on formations and running back locations. So we got a good job. We got to have to do a good job of changing up looks and getting in things that our kids can function. Just understand you're going to have some negative plays against them because they're that style of defense that they play. Just got to keep chopping wood, stay patient, and just kind of let the game flow, and just got to execute and not be in the long yardage situations like we were in the last game due to some false start penalties by our offensive line. So we just got to be more disciplined and really diagnose what they're doing defensively and try to take advantage of what they're doing at the same time.
So the offense ranks top 20 nationally in time of possession, but bottom 30 in red zone touchdown rate. What have you found is the key to turning long drives into finishing, specifically like in the red zone?
Yeah, in the red area last week, we were 100% scoring touchdowns, so I thought we were good in that area. And I thought the defense did a good job of holding Coastal to field goals, which you have to do, and that kind of kept the game in a striking range in that first half. So those things are always emphasized, part of playing to win for us. And you just got to execute and try not to get in those situations. But, it's football, and you got to respond to things that happen. And I'm confused with your question when you said who's in the top 20 and who
in time of possession.
Who is?
You are. So when we talk about that, like, you guys have done a good job when it comes to playing behind. Like, you guys have played behind in a lot of games, and then when you do get the rock, you're able to convert. I want to know, outside of that though, the defensive unit you have is one of the youngest in the Sun Belt. How do you balance development with accountability during this late in the season, especially with it being senior day for Georgia State?
All right. We do have a lot of young players that's playing on both sides of the ball in all three phases, and they're continuing to get better. If you just look at even when you classify guys that are older, we still have guys that are redshirt juniors, some seniors that this is really their first time playing significant snaps. So there's youthfulness from a playing standpoint, no matter what classification you are. But that's just part of the I know we're kind of on the right track, and those young guys, we got a good foundation with young guys and guys that we can bring back and have a lot better team moving forward. But our main concentration right now is just making sure that our preparation helps control, the moment on Saturday.
I know you're centrally focused on Marshall and the team's focused on Marshall, but as you're kind of building this program, trying to steer it in the future, how do you sell the idea of progress to the team that's here right now, to the recruits, to the fans, to the administration, when you'd have to win out the rest of the season to have a better record than last year?
Yeah, definitely a tough situation. Definitely started out not the way you want to start. Definitely had a tough schedule. That added to a lot of things we're incurring now. And when you play the opponents we play early, and you have some injuries that occur, and you have to play guys that not necessarily they're capable, not necessarily all the way mentally prepared. So it was an influx of a lot of things that outside of your control and you don't want as a coach. But I do feel like our kids fight. They show great effort every single game. There's no quitting those guys because we don't allow our guys to drop below the standard. So those are the positives that kind of go into that. And if we can convince all of our young guys and our guys that have really been productive to stay, and we can create enough money to keep the guys we need to keep and acquire the right pieces. No negative thoughts about who we're playing in the future, but it won't be to the caliber of Ole Miss, Vandy, and Memphis. Then opening up in the conference with JMU, and that was just a tough start for our team. And we got to do a better job as coaches, throughout the season, which I think we have, of getting our kids to fight. We just been a playoff here, a playoff there, a turnover here, a turnover there, and a lot of these results could have been a lot differently. That's the part that you kind of, regret as a coach, and say, what could I have done more? That just makes it tough. And the kids see that too. They understand that they're the ones that's playing in between the white lines, and a lot of times they take ownership and they really put the onus on themselves and in some of the situations. So you gotta respect kids that understand that they played a big part in what we have done this season and But those learning lessons, learning through the adversity, learning through the losses, is all about growth. And I think with the youthfulness we have, we're going to grow into an organization that we can be proud of here in Atlanta.
With this upcoming game, Marshall, as a first-year coach there, I guess, as you're watching the games, are you looking at the games that have more recently as you're looking at the film Sunday to see what they've grown into as a team, or are you looking, does it really matter? Is that agnostic game to game? You're looking at stuff from earlier in the season too?
Yeah, you try to look at everything and just situations, how they play certain personnel groupings, how have injuries affected their team, and they had a quarterback change as well, and they've kind of gone with Del Rio, and he's done a good job. He's a runner. Lacey, the receiver, is probably one of the best receivers in our league. He's very dangerous whenever he touches the football. They got 3 quality backs. They got a big O-line. I mean, they recruited and got big people, on their roster. They got an older group of players as well. It's a lot of redshirt juniors and seniors that's on that roster. And, Coach Gibson has done a good job. I know Coach Gibson, he's a defensive coordinator at heart, and he does a lot of the defensive things for his team right now. But it's just going to be a game where both teams are eager to win, and we're going to put our best foot forward, our preparation the remainder of the week, and try to send these seniors out the right way and try to end the season the right way for us as an organization.
When you look at a big picture in the Sun Belt Conference, and you see GSU getting a lot of national recognition, when we look over from where they sit to where we sit, does it give you hope and encouragement for this program, moving forward? That you guys played Ole Miss this year, you guys played Vandy, and some things go off and right this way in conference play, then you have hope moving forward for the future. Do you have a better pitch for next year when you look at the scheduling and the margin of error?
Not necessarily a pitch. I mean, JMU has an outstanding staff. They have an excellent football team. They find ways to win football games, and it's a credit to their staff and players. We got to be who we are. Got to finish out this year the right way. Got to go into the off season, and like I said, we got to make sure that we keep the correct guys and the guys that want to be Panthers too. At the end of the day, we found a lot of things out with a team like this, and with this kind of season, you really find out who's really in it for the Panthers, who's in it from a team concept, who's not being selfish. So a lot of those things will play a part in who stays, who goes. But we're looking for 120 guys that want to be Panthers, and I think we have the right mix of guys, and we can keep those guys here. It's a big deal about money now, so it's not so much about relationships and things of that sort. But at the end of the day, I'm in the development game, and I know what I input and what our coaches do for our kids on an everyday basis, from showing them how to be men, fathers, husbands, good role models, Christians. So, those things kind of get overlooked when you're really result-oriented, just looking at the wins and losses. And I told our guys the other day, it's all about, the process. This is part of that process, and we can never lose sight of that process and what our standard is. And, it may not look the way we want it to look right now, but it will.
Do you have, any moments that you can speak on behind the scenes and behind closed doors about the senior group over the last 2 years as you've been here now?
Some guys have been here longer than others. Some guys just got here. Take Deuce Lewis and Henry Bryant. They've kind of been two catalysts that has done everything. They've done things the right way. They're exceptional students. Both will graduate and have graduated. So those are the little victories that go outside the wins and losses that that they're going to be pillars in whatever community they decide to live in, and they're going to be productive citizens.
Since Cam Brown has become the starter, offense seems to be utilizing more high up tempo. I saw practice, you guys wanted to go high tempo in situations. Has there been an increased focus? And can you speak more about that?
Yeah, I think you got to adjust as coaches as the season progresses and kind of see who you are, what your players are able to do. And, we've had to make those adjustments to better suit this team. That can change from week to week, and it can change from year to year. I think that's part of our job as coaches to kind of not necessarily do what we know, but do what our kids are capable of doing. And, we got to do a better job of that, even moving forward, because the portal and acquisitions and who's on your team won't change. So you got to make sure we identify what kids can do and what our 3 phases are going to be capable of doing.
I don't know if you saw over the weekend the post-game practice with Texas State and Louisiana. There's some suspension handed out by the league. Does the league pass along any to all the different teams guidance after something like that happens? Is that something you saw addressed with the team? Not because it's been an issue, just because stuff like that can happen with heated moments in games.
It was. I'm sure. I hadn't been able to check my email yet, so I'm not sure if anything has come from our conference. But I know no one is preaching things of undisciplined things and undisciplined acts. I did not see what happened with Texas State in that game, so can't speak on what happened. But I'm sure that Coach Kenny, there was nothing that he practices. And who was the other team involved? Was it Louisiana? Louisiana, yeah. Those are fine young men, and sometimes kids do things that makes you just, hey man, what's going on? So sometimes that's what happens when you got 18-year-olds and they make some bonehead decisions, and emotions get involved, and just a different group of kids now. And but I know it was no reflection of either coach.
You've been in locker rooms really in all levels of football. What do you feel like is something that the public doesn't really understand about what it takes to keep players emotionally invested through adversity, specifically with, us and the Panthers being with only one win?
Yeah, you just got to go back and make sure everyone knows why they're playing, and never allow a loss define who you are as a person, how you work, how you go about your everyday business. There's a lot of things that occur during the game. Some things that are in our control, some things that's not in our control. But at the end of the day, you got to make sure that you don't leave no stone unturned. You control your attitude, you control your effort, and then if you feel like you did everything you could do and you have no regrets, then you can live with yourself. It's just harder when you know that you didn't put in what you could have put into the game plan, or you didn't play your best during the game. So that's what really, I think, drives and angers and frustrates players, coaches, and everyone involved when you know you didn't do everything you could have done, either during the game or before.
All right, so talk to me about the current state of the locker room and where you guys are right now, and how team chemistry is right now.
Well, team chemistry, we're still doing good, still getting along with each other, still building that bond with each other. But we're just trying to stay mentally strong, finish out these games strong, finish it out for the seniors a good way, in a positive way instead of a negative way.
Who are some of the seniors that have had the biggest impact on you?
I feel like Henry Bryant, Deuce Lewis, those guys on the D-line. What other seniors do we have? Offensive-wise, Ted Hurst, and Jordan Simmons is also a senior, Rashad Amos, those guys as well, and any other seniors that I miss. I feel like all those seniors, they bring the passion and the love to the game out there for practice and bring it out into the field and try their best every single day. I've seen it since the summer, since the spring as well.
When we go inside your helmet, can you talk to us about your progression from last week and how you grade yourself from your performance last week?
Just trying to help the team out the best way I can. Go 100%. Doesn't matter how far away the runner is. He could be 20 yards down the field. I'm trying to catch up just in case he stumbled. I'm just trying to give my defense and offense, special teams as well, 100%, all I can give.
there are obviously the different types of quarterbacks, but you face a mobile quarterback against Coastal. There's another one this week against Marshall. Is there any things you can take from prep last week and things maybe went wrong in this past game that you and the defense would correct going into this game?
We just got to be better on tackling. That's what we worked on today as well. Fitting the run, linebacker, safeties, D-line, just working on the interior as well and trying to build that wall.
When you see motion, what's like the first thing that you key on? Are you looking at the quarterback's eyes, looking at the backfield, looking at the receiver? Take us into like what personnel would be like if you see motion.
Well, first I gotta see what type of formation they come out in, like whether that's 2x2, 3x1, maybe a FIB formation, formation boundary, and I just got to watch the film as well and see like okay, their high motion tendency and see what type of plays that we come off of the motion. And I'll keep my eyes mainly to the receivers, tight end, and then quarterback, and yeah, go through my progression.
So a follow-up for that is Marshall's offense loves RPOs.
Absolutely.
And those looks. How do you stay patient without freezing your feet like in the secondary?
You just got to play fast. You got to play fast and smart. That's it. Play full speed as well. And play with confidence.
As you're getting near the end of your first year play, I don't know, starter, playing a lot of reps, whatever you want to characterize it, I guess, what have you learned the most? You feel like you've been a better player out there now than you were week one this season?
Absolutely. I feel like my teammates have helped me out as well. You know, they're building my confidence up every single day, telling me, like, hey, I got to run to the ball. Like some days, like I may get a little tired. I'm like, dang, I'm kind of banged up. I don't feel like running. But they like, nah, just pick up the intensity, pick up the energy. And since week one, I've definitely gotten better. We've all gotten better. And it got to show out on the field come Saturday for our seniors.
If you could get one more crack at any Sun Belt Conference team, who would it be and why?
When you say crack,
Like one more chance to play.
I would love to play Southern Miss, Southern Mississippi. I watched them versus Georgia Southern. They play hard, play fast, play with a whole lot of energy. And I know some of them boys that came from Marshall, so I definitely wanted to play them again.
Yeah.
How's it been the last couple weeks? Getting more of a run, having some success out there, like 5 yards a carry, touchdown last game against Coastal?
I'd say it's pretty good. It feels good to get out there, play with the guys, each week. We improving, trying to get better. My number called, I try to make the most of it, trying to go out there, execute the play caller. So.
When you talk about your running back room that you're in right now, how have you guys gotten closer throughout the season? And can you talk to the media about like some moments that we might not have seen where your guys have like gotten closer, even in the midst of winning, you having one win?
I say each week, we got a good running back coach, so each week we come in the game prepared real well. He does a real good job with us. I think since week one, everybody in the room, even the guys who haven't really touched the field, really have improved a lot in terms of in practice and taking the ball where it's supposed to go, knowing it, right assignments and everything. So I say each week, I think anybody who touches that field in the room can come out there and execute because our coach does a good job preparing us. So.
I guess there's a lot of times when you're seeing the field earlier in the season, you're passing down, you're receiving out of the backfield, maybe even doing pass pro. Do you think the job you did in those situations, part of why maybe you started earning more reps, just every down, getting more carries?
Yeah, I say that plays a role, and also just going out there, like I said, with my numbers called, just executing, be able to take the workload. Once you do some small things right, they put more on your plate, and you're able to handle that. You get more and more. So just executing whenever your numbers call for real.
And do you think that's something the younger guys in the room can look at that and say, if I'm doing what he's doing on the little things, then that might get me more reps down the line year after year?
Yeah, I say so. I mean, it's the details, going out there, just executing little small things, little details, because that's what coaches look at on film.
And I guess what catches your eye as you're prepping for this Marshall team on Saturday?
Just trying to get better, improve from last week. Last week I had a pretty good game, but this week I'm trying to build off the momentum and improve. As the offense as a whole, we all trying to finish out the season strong, senior week. So I'm trying to also come out there last home game, finish my last home game in Georgia State Stadium with a win. So.
If you had to give a love letter to Panther Nation from your time being here, what would you say to them for their support?
I say just thank you for showing up each and every week. You know, the season didn't really go the way we wanted, but I say the fans still showed up and showed a lot of support, and I really love that about them. So,
I guess even back to your time at other schools, just your time in college football in general as you're heading towards your senior day, I guess what are your memories of your college career? What stands out? What do you take away from it?
I take a lot. I mean, I've been to a lot of schools, like you said, so, you know, it's bits and pieces, but, I mean, it's a lot of great moments I made, you know, just little details and just the coaches, the stuff the coaches instilled in me, you know, that goes a long way. Not just, it's just life after football as well that they put in me, so.
I know you probably never stopped adjusting, but like, how have you adapted to the game speed and the flow of like Sun Belt Conference play?
I say I adapted real well, you know, just going out there, you know, it starts in practice, you know, once you see it in practice, see how it looks and running the right way in practice, once it gets to the game time, it makes it a lot easier just going out there and just executing whatever's called. So.